One of the ones we were just talking about is something we could play on the air and have. I don't even know how it came up, but when John Minko, I guess it was sort of like the Nets have really come a long way from this. But when John Minko was filling in for Chris Carino and him and Tim Capstraw were doing the post-game show, and Minko had to be his own engineer that day, and the feedback of the microphones was just blowing everybody away.
It was bad.
So it was a situation where the two of them would sit there, Minko and Capstraw, and the fans would be there with a microphone to ask them questions. And Minko had to run the sound. He had to figure out the audio. So he's just there all right, time for our first question. Let's go out to the audience. Wow. I don't know how to fix this. And Capstraw's like, why don't you push that button? All right, push this. All right, looks like we got a question. Let's go out. What's your question? All right, that's still not working. And it's 10 minutes of just hilarity.
And he's the king of improvising.
Oh, my God. Man.
That poor guy. I remember that because that was at Prudential Center, I believe, before Barclays Center opened. It was in between the Continental Airlines Arena and the Meadowlands, and they played those, I think it was 2 seasons at Prudential Center. And I am almost certain that's where that was. And it was after a loss, if I remember correctly, too. And there weren't many fans that stuck around for that post-game live show. But the ones that did, or the ones that didn't, I should say, that might have listened, got a real treat on the way home.
My goodness. I think I was here while that was going on. I was working, and I couldn't breathe. I was laughing so hard.
Did we know where that is, by the way?
Yeah, I know exactly where it is. I could find it for you.
I know exactly where it is. Look at you.
No, I think it's in my folder, actually.
I'm surprised I don't know where that is.
See, because I heard it. I was working that day. I heard it. I cut it. I put it in my folder. So that's where that is. But you down for that, CeeLo, for doing a podcast where we go through all the crazy audio of the past?
Oh, I would live for that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So let's do that one day soon. All right?
Sure.
You know what's funny is you sit there and say, you remember the night when it happened, and you remember where you were, you cut it up. It's funny how certain points of your life, things happen and you remember where you were. And there are Minko moments for me, too. The one where he had the frog in his throat when he's working with Richard.
Yeah.
I remember I was in the car on the turnpike. I almost crashed. I couldn't stop laughing.
What's happening here?
I don't know what's happened here. And Richard Neer is get the man a glass of water.
I know. Meanwhile, Richard's all the way down in North Carolina on an ISDN. He's like, wow, looks like we've lost Mink here.
Didn't know what happened. Oh, that was bad.
There's
and
been a couple of those.
Then he thought his throat was clear, and it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. He came back. Oh, it's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. You know, one that I remember exactly where I was when this was going on. I think I've told this story on the air before. We might have even played the audio. But since Sal is working tomorrow, Sal Licata, this is when Sal and I was the board op, he was the producer. Mike McCann was the update anchor. And Mike McCann would ask every single time, do we have a sponsor? Do we have a sponsor? Do we have a sponsor? So Sal would tell him, listen, if you have a sponsor, I'll let you know. You don't have to ask me. So then the two of us idiots, we get it in our head let's see how far we can take this, right? So we gave him first just to read on the screen, sponsored by White Castle Belly Bombs.
Oh, I remember this one.
And he just plows right through it. This report brought to you by White Castle Belly Bombs. And, Mike McCann, who's got the great deep voice, sells everything. If I needed to sell something, I'd hire Mike McCann to sell it. So he does the Belly Bombs when we're having a great time, we're laughing. Then I said, all right, how can we take this even farther? So we type up a fake read, the whole header, everything, hole punch it, type it out. Brought to you by General Mills Tricks. Hey, silly rabbit, get away from my bowl. Tricks are for kids.
Want to hear it?
Yes. So
even though an MRI shows no damage. This report is brought to you by General Mills Tricks. Hey, get away from my bowl. Tricks are for kids, silly rabbit. With reports every 20 minutes.
But here's the thing, and Chris, you're in this situation like I have been in the past. Why wouldn't that be a sponsor?
Sometimes they are.
There's nothing wrong with that. Now, the Belly Bombs, I might question. Right. But that one, I'd read it too.
So I handed him the thing. So Sal was in a much tougher spot because he couldn't leave the control room. I had to leave. Like, there was no way I could keep it together. So I went back to the vending machine in Astoria and, like, hid behind it, was laughing my ass off hearing that on the loudspeaker. And then Sal, so after he reads that, Mike McCann comes around from the studio to the control room, and Sal has to not laugh in his face, which is impossible because this is, like, the funniest thing that ever happened to us. So he walks in, and he's holding the read. He goes, you know, in my 25 years of radio, General Mills has never been a sponsor. And Sal goes, yeah, I don't know. I guess that's good for sales, right? Yeah. And then picked up a phone. FAN. Want to talk to the guys? Can I hear it one more time, CeeLo? Do you have it there?
I just closed it out.
Oh, damn
I'll tell you what. Can I play you another sponsor-related one that's pretty funny that features a Jerry Ricco cameo?
Yeah, let's go. Let's hear it.
All right. 1-718-937-6666 is the number to call in the Fan New York City. This portion of the program is sponsored by Renewal by Anderson. Say before the flash. I just did. 1-718-937-6666.
Wrote it on the screen for him. Say before the flash.
Say before the flash. I just did.
I just did.
Is Jerry laughing in the back?
Oh, God. That's awesome.